I remember like it was yesterday. Like literally, I was like, I think I'm just gonna go back home. There's no way I'm gonna stay in this country. That was one of my hardest times of my life. Um, and I'll tell you what happened. My name is Alphonse Msale. I came to the United States when I was 19 in 2018. And when I first came, of course, it was one of the hardest times that I can remember in my life. But I'm going to talk about how I was able to do that. And then if that can help someone else, then good. If it can't, then I'm sorry, but I hope it can. So basically what happened was I came to America when I was 19, and my dad basically said instead of him spending money to take me to college in Tanzania, in a country that he can afford, he decided to just take me to America because he was like, if you come here, you could work and you could do something for yourself. And he basically took a leap of faith and brought me here to do that. So what happened is when I first came, we just landed to the airport, and I remember like it was yesterday. We only had $1,000 to our name, and the only address we had was the school that I was going to. So I went to the school, and they told me I need an address. And the thing is that we just got here at 7 a.m. in the morning. So if you're telling me you need an address for you to be able to like put our name in the system, it was like crazy. So anyways, long story short, I remember to this day because the school fees was like $60,000, and I know we only have 1,000. My dad raised me up in a way that he always told me how much money we had. So it wasn't like I didn't think like it was just magic that we had money. So you can imagine thinking like, man, like what are we doing? But every time I look back to those days, I always thank God, because if I didn't go through that, nothing else would have mattered. Because and this is one thing that maybe you could look at in your own life. If you look at all the hard stuff you went through, those are what make you who you are. And everyone has struggles. Like there's no one who has more struggles than someone else. And sometimes you might think that you went through something worse than someone else, which could be true, but I believe that we were all given our own struggles that God knew that we could handle. The struggles that I go through and the struggles that you go through are totally different, but one thing I know is that the reason I have my struggles is because God believed that I could handle my struggles, and also God believes that you could handle your struggles. So let's not get there. So, and the reason I'm even sharing this today is because one of the biggest things that I learned on the way too is that we don't lack access to anything. You just lack awareness. Like if I saw someone who was an immigrant like me talking to me about how it's possible for someone like me to come from that and become someone, like that would have been very helpful. Like most of the time as humans, we think we like access to something. We think we like someone to open the door for us somewhere, but really we just lack the awareness, which means it's just the simple fact that it's possible. And that's my major goal for this video, and I hope that gives someone out there some awareness. Now I'm gonna go into some details. So, of course, fast forward to that, I started working, underpaying jobs, not underpaying, under the table jobs, because I believed that I needed a work permit to be able to work. So I was just doing that. So I was doing my best to just find some way to work. And this is another thing I learned. So basically, during that time, that first 3 months was like one of the hardest 3 months I had to go through, because I was looking for a job the whole time. My dad had just left after 3 days, and I'm in a whole new country. I have an accent, I don't even know what I'm doing. It's cold. But after those 3 months, then I got a job, then I started working, then it started going through. Things were starting to change. But I didn't realize when that would and that was happening. And I think that's what most of us are scared of, Like moving to a new environment is scary because the first few weeks, few months, those are the toughest. But after that, it gets better. And most of us end up giving up because of the first couple weeks or first couple months when it comes to everything. Like nowadays, when I look at anything that I start, I see that resistance. I remember about that resistance that I got when I first came here, and it helps me because when I feel that, it tells me that if this is what I had to go through to get here, then that means this is nothing. Especially because that was like the biggest one I've ever felt. And like even getting into sales, like so I worked in a car wash for 3 years, and I worked in a kitchen for 2 years, and car wash was brutal, 12 hours a day, just washing cars all day, feet hurt, feet wet every day, and it was a hand car wash. And then after that, going into cooking where I'm just cutting broccoli, cutting broccoli, cutting onions, and cooking all day and getting burnt. And that was also it was better than car wash, but it was still, something. And then from there, going into sales, which was totally different. And for any of you who are watching and you're also either working a job under the table, doing whatever, those are really good because I learned that was helping a lot. Because when you get to something like sales where you make money talking, you're like, what? So you have more hunger than the average person that maybe didn't have that hunger. And that's one of the most important things that you need. And that's one of the biggest things that people lack in first world countries. People wish their children were as hungry as they were, because now we're in a world where you have access to so many things. YouTube gives you access to literally everything you can imagine. So, and if you think about that, so even the fact that now we have so much access, which creates a new problem, which the problem is now you have people that don't have the hunger that people had before when they didn't have anything. I'm glad I was born in Africa because being born there was one of the key things that got me to have all this hunger that I have today, the hunger to succeed, the hunger to work. Every time I meet people, they always tell me they told me Africans work hard. Now I get it. And it's a big trait and that's of course, most of the time it's because of the Africans that come here. And the Africans that come here, because you come here, it's not like you're entitled, because you haven't had access to so many things, and then you come here, you become aware of how much you can have. So then you want it because you never had it. And that's where hunger comes from. It comes from not having something. Because if you had it, then you won't need it. Or you not even need it, you won't even want it. Right? So, and times like that is where you need mental strength. You need to have the strength in your brain, in your mind, having a mindset of not talking bad things about yourself, because that's what can happen. You can feel yourself like a failure. You can feel like you're behind. You can feel like, what am I doing? But at the end of the day, you gotta remember, and that's what I had to remind myself all the time, is that I'm not in a race with anybody. This is my own race. So there's no such thing as a competition. The only person you're competing with is yourself, because God put us all here with our own everyone with their own purpose. Everyone has their own unique purpose in their own life based on what God has put in them. We all have strengths, and someone else has weaknesses on the strengths that you have. I might be strong at learning new languages and speaking in, I don't know, selling or whatever, but that doesn't mean that you're also strong in that place. You might be strong in making music or writing books or whatever that is. So since we all have our own gifts, one of the best things we could do is we can all just be in tune with ourselves and just strive to be better versions of ourselves. And that happens by, reading books and becoming more than who we are right now. That's the goal. So anyways, what am I looking to, I guess, what's the next step, right? If you've gone through this, if you're in this time where it's kind of hard for you and, you're feeling like, man, this is like really tough, just know things are going to get better. And this is and this is not coming from me, this is coming from people that I've listened to. They always say the same thing. So this is a reminder for you and for my own self too. I tell myself right now that things are going to get better. It's not going to stay that way. But at the same time, it happens by you surrounding yourself with people who are very much positive, taking some time to meditate and think about it, and being a person that an older version of yourself would be proud of. So I hope this video helps you. And if you're an immigrant struggling right now, and I'm living proof that your hardest month can become the foundation of your life. See you on the next one.